Welcome guys to another episode of Journey Drive. My name is Sam and this is a 2001 Toyota MR2 and today we are going to go over it. So this is the third generation MR2. The first generation came out in 1980s. The second generation was in the 1990s and this was in the 2000s. They only made this from 2000 to 2005. They only sold about 25,000 of these. Compared to a Miata, from 2000 to 2005, Miata sold about 80,000 cars. But this, for whatever reason, it did not sell as well. I think one of the reasons it did not sell well is because of the dealer markups. The second reason it did not do too well is because Toyota did not do good marketing on this car. They should have shifted the marketing from young to a little bit older so they can afford it with a dealer markup. And the third reason I think it did not sell is because it's not a good looking car. The other reason I think it did not sell well is because they offered it in one engine. There are no turbos, there are no superchargers like the previous generation, and also it's only convertible. You cannot get this in any other form. You can only get the Spyders. So this MR2 Spyder comes with 1.8 liter engine. It produces around 138 horsepower and the torque is about 120. If you look at the second generation, they had one which was naturally aspirated and another one with turbo. And even the first generation, there were some offered with a supercharger. Toyota decided not to do any of that with this one. And I think they should have added the 2ZZ engine on this car, even if they had to charge a little bit more. Because the 2ZZ offers a lot more power, around 180 horsepower. And they offer that with a Celica. So I don't know why they did not put that engine in this car. I think it could have sold a lot better. The number one reason you want to buy this car is because it's a mid-engine. There are not a lot of mid-engine cars, especially at this price range, that you can get on the market today. The only other mid-engine cars you can get on the market for close to the same price are maybe the Porsche 914s. You can get a Porsche Boxster, maybe a Pontiac Fiero, but those cars are not known for reliability. This has the Toyota reliability. The second reason you want to buy this car is because it's very lightweight. Even with a full tank of gas, it's around 2,200 pounds, which make it a little bit fun to drive, even with this underpowered engine. And the third reason you want to buy this car is because there are not too many of them. As I said, Toyota only sold about 25,000 of these in a span of 5 years. And I'll bet maybe 5,000 of them have been damaged or crashed. They are out of the road. And other ones have very high mileage and others have been modified. So to find a modified car with low mileage and well maintained is becoming a little bit difficult. And I think because of that, the prices are starting to creep up or hold up a little bit. The average price for these cars with around 100,000 miles is around $6,000. So if you find a really nice one with less than 50,000 miles, they are selling like $15,000. And you can go all the way down to maybe $2,000-3,000, but those are damaged. They have salvage titles or the engine is blown. So there is a spectrum, but you can still find a very nice one for about less than $10,000. And that's why I am in the market for one of these. So what are the shortfalls for buying one of these? In order to make this car ultra low emission, Toyota added pre-cuts on the manifold itself. And those are two catalytic converters in front of the main catalytic converter. The problem with those pre-catalytic converters, they are very fragile. And if you mistreat the engine, even if you don't mistreat the engine, sometimes they disintegrate, and some of the particles, they get sucked back into the engine. And now you might ask, how does exhaust gases get sucked back into the engine? Most of the engine have the EGR system. This uses the valve timing to recirculate some of the exhaust gases back into the engine so it can burn off those hydrocarbons. So sometimes if the precats disintegrate, some of those particles can get sucked back into the engine and then can score the side of the cylinder wall, and eventually the car will start consuming more oil or burning oil, and then the engine will go into a complete failure. There will be no compression. That's one thing you have to look for. So if you're buying one of these, make sure the precats are still intact or they have been removed. The other downfall for buying one of these cars is this car has no storage. It has storage on the front, and that's maybe 2 cubic feet. So the front trunk is, or the flank is very impractical. You have the spare tire in here, and with the spare tire you cannot put anything in here. It's very small. So this is my camera bag. So decent size. So I put it in here. It will not even fit. You can barely go to the grocery store with this car. So if you are to own this, I think I'll get a can of Fix-A-Flat, and I'll just throw that in here and remove the spare tire. But here is where you do your fluids, like the wiper fluids are here. You get your fuse box over here. There is some storage behind the seat, but even that you cannot put much on there. So this is not a Spyder you can buy to go golfing. I think that's why Miata is still very popular car, because it's fun car and practical. This is fun but very impractical. So this car came with a 5-speed manual transmission, but you can't get another one with sequential transmission. It looks like automatic, but it's not really automatic. You have to shift yourself. You either use the gear lever, or you can use some buttons on the steering wheel to upshift and downshift. I believe that one was offered in 6-speed. Only other car that came with that transmission back in 2000 were cars like Ferraris or supercars that cost $100,000 or more. This is a mid-engine car, and it handles very well. But in order to save money, Toyota did not put the best suspension on this. They did not put the double wishbone suspension. So although it handles great, they could have done a little bit better to make this car even more desirable. Since the car is a convertible, let's drop the top. You have 2 clamps here, one on this side and one on the other side. You unlatch those, and all you have to do is lift it. Make sure the rear glass is flat. And to put the top back on is quite easy. There's a clamp in the middle. You just put it and you unlatch, and then you go all the way. So this car is 20 years old, and the owner of this car, they took good care of it. This is leather seats, and these are cheap leather seats, and they don't have any lips on them. So whoever owned it, they did very good. The carpet looks very nice. It still has the original radio. The AC works. Everything on this car works. The top doesn't have any lips on it. There are a few scratches here and there, but it's a 20-year-old car, so I do expect that. The 5-speed transmission is the easiest one to use. I think if you are to teach someone to drive a stick shift, this should be the one to use. So if you buy this car, make sure you check the pre-catalytic converters. Maybe get the aftermarket ones. But since I live in California, I cannot take out those pre-catalytic converters because it's needed to pass smog. So the only thing I can do is keep checking it, removing the manifold and checking the precats to make sure they are still intact. And also maintain the car like you should. Make sure it's not overheating, make sure you change oil regularly, and this MR2 will be a very reliable car. So this is basically a cheap Lotus Elise. It doesn't look good as Lotus Elise. It doesn't perform as nice as Lotus Elise, but you can make this perform as well as Lotus Elise, especially if you swap the engine to 2ZZ and put the hardtop on there and do some suspension. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next one.